All right, here we are. It's season two, and I am super excited. Our format's changed a little bit. We're going to be doing live streams every week. So if you want to join, you want to be part of the conversation, get us on our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Jeep podcast, or you can be notified different shows and what have you on Instagram at Jeep podcast. Today, we did a live show. We've done a few of them. It's been a huge success. Thank you to everyone that watches each week. It's a lot of fun. I'm hoping to see you, it's you, at our very next live show. I'm not sure if I said it or not, but we're doing it on Thursdays. Haven't nailed down a time just yet, but that is what we are doing. And I got to say, this thing's been a lot of fun. I'm super excited for what we have going on in season two. Lots of fun stuff. And yeah, we're just going to say fuck COVID. And yeah, we're going to Jeep on, man and ladies. So tonight's show, interesting topic. The question of whether you should or what makes the most sense for you in terms of throwing your Jeep on the back of a trailer and taking it to the trail, or driving there, wheeling it, and driving it home. So pros, cons, costs, benefits, all that fun stuff and more on today's show. Let's get into it. Let's talk about trailers versus driving your Jeep to the trail. Well, tonight we are talking about the difference between a Jeep that you throw on the trailer and take up to the trail, or that you either daily drive or just drive for the weekend and strictly use it for crawling. So let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Tim, let's start with you. Let's talk about the difference between the two. So at a high level, obviously there's a huge gamut, but for tonight's episode, what are we talking about specifically between those two?
So I think if you're starting from scratch, or say you've been into the Jeep game for a while and you're thinking of upgrading, should you put money into building up your street driven Jeep and increasing its trail capabilities, but also having to drive it to the trail and drive home, versus having yourself a built Jeep that goes on a trailer that you tow to the trail, beat it up, and trailer it home. So, I mean, two totally different ways of doing things, both achieve the same, having fun off-roading in the dirt and on the rocks. But yeah, just a couple different ways to skin it. And I feel unless you've had both setups, you might not have considered all the pros and cons to both. So I think it's an awesome topic to get into.
All right, cool. And so Ryan, do you find typically, like, how does the progression of this work usually? I imagine, and again, I'm only guessing because it seems like this would be a logical progression, but you would start out in most cases like, hey, I want to start getting into off-road, or it bites you in the ass, whatever the case may be. You're probably going to start out by driving your rig to the trail. Yes. And then trailing it'll be something later. Or do you find that that's not the case?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's the case for everyone. There's probably so many different variables or like different situations. You know what I mean? There's guys that have a diesel pickup and a trailer or something for other purposes, and then they decide to trailer because out of convenience. Or the people that it would be inconvenient because you create a whole other cost, right? You're going to buy another truck, you're going to buy a trailer, and then you have maintenance and all those things on top of two more pieces of equipment, right? So then it becomes out of necessity too, because like Tim can't drive the race buggy to the trail because it's not designed for the road. Where if you have something where you're just enjoying like moderate to mid-level trails, maybe you don't have to trailer. But I like trailering personally because you have that cushion, right, where you can get it home. You don't have to drive it home, and that's where I find that's the most benefit. I mean, aside if we didn't put costs or extra nonsense into it, I'd say the beauty of trailering is you're getting home one way or the other, right? I think that's kind of the biggest one. The biggest drawback I find is potentially like preparation, like getting the truck ready, getting the trailer ready, getting the Jeep ready, or your buggy or whatever you got, loading it, strapping it, getting whoever coming with you, all your junk, putting it in the truck. You're looking at, and then it really depends too, right? Who are you? Do you have a girlfriend? Are you single? Do you have a family? Like, who's coming, right? All those things add up. Like when we go, like if we're going with everybody, and like I grab the big bus and I grab the giant trailer, and then I load all the stuff in it, like the motorhome and all that, and then I load both vehicles. And like I need like 3 hours, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It really depends, right? Then yeah, exactly. You want to get, if you're doing that extent, I like to stay for like 3 days, you know, just to make it worth it. By the time you get to camp, wherever you're stopping, like setting it all up, unloading everything, right? Like it's a plan. Whereas sometimes it's nice if you just want to do some trails and just get in the Jeep on 37s and drive 3 or 4 hours and hang out for the day, or stay in a hotel or camp or tent, and you're good. You know what I mean? So there's lots of different variables. Just depends what makes sense for you. For us, it makes sense to take the big bus and the big stuff and do all the stuff and have everything there, because Christina drives and I drive, and you know, or me and Nate go. We bring 2 Jeeps if we can, you know, to get the trailer that fits 2, right? So
yeah, I was gonna say that's because you're spoiled.
Yeah,
You got all the toys, right?
Yeah, it definitely got lots of stuff kicking around, but it's all for work.
Yes, right. I'm sure. Yeah, all for
Can't
work.
work.
Yeah, that's right. I know. I try to tell my wife that exact same thing. She doesn't buy it though. You know, it's like
Really?
I really need this. You know,
I'll teach you how to sell that.
work. You know, yeah, right. I know that's the thing. I got to get her into it. But,
Yeah,
you brought up
totally.
a good point. I think, Tim. What are we pulling our rig up to the trail with? And are we like, am I going out to buy a JL and say, hey, you know, I'm gonna have a JL. I'm gonna get a JK or a TJ and pull that behind. That's just I'm dreaming it with that.
No, I think you're dreaming. I mean, I know what some of the tow ratings are on the JL, the Gladiator, whatever. Having towed stuff, it's not something I would tell someone to do and have any confidence in. So 1/2-ton truck, at a minimum, to tow a single vehicle on a single car trailer, definitely a 1/2-ton truck at a minimum. So you're looking at a 1500, an F-150, etc. That's where you would want to start. That's kind of the gatekeeper truck for something that's adequate to tow with.
Yeah, and in Ontario, you got to watch just your weight. Like anything over 4,500 kgs requires you to have a CVOR, the fancy little yellow sticker you see people in the windows. So just kind of watch out for that. It kind of puts you into the next level of stuff. It's a pain point too.
Okay.
We're all CVOR with all my stuff because we do all the delivery, home delivery, and work delivery, and all the B2B business we do. So everything I own has the yellow sticker, and all the trailers are yellow stickered and stuff.
Okay.
So,
well, and yeah, I was going to ask about that, but just real quick, I was going to say, you know, the Gladiator, first, I've seen people using it to tow their rig.
they're crazy. They're crazy.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You both have one. Is it like just
I wouldn't do it.
real realm of safety?
No, I wouldn't do it. Like Ryan says, I mean, maybe you have to have used something more adequate for the job to know the difference, but ultimately you're probably towing something that's similar in weight to that Gladiator. Now try and break. So it's not necessarily, does it have the jam to get it up and get it moving? Yeah. It's, can you stop in an emergency? And if you're towing something that's pretty much equivalent to that weight, you're going to get pushed. I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think many people would do it and be comfortable with it in an emergency situation, which is kind of what you got to plan for worst case. So no, it's not something I would do myself.
Yeah. Maneuvering it, or bad weather, or, you know, anything, right? Like even like a hydroplane, like that truck with a Jeep and a trailer is going to push you all around all day long, man. No way. Or you got to move like a stupid thing, like a deer. You know what I mean? Like I've surfed for deers with a single trailer, like deck over, like 25-footer with the diesel pickup. It is still like, whoa, you know what I mean? So never mind something like to equal weight or better. Like you're screwed. Yeah, no, it's not a fantastic idea.
Okay, fair enough. We've got Matt. I know it doesn't say, but I guarantee that's Matt from that Jeep Adventure. He says van life. And the reason he says van life is because he's got a pretty sick van that he.
I thought he had like those shoes or something.
Yeah, well, those too, right? I'm sure he's got both. I'm sure, but he's got a pretty awesome TJ, and he tows it around in a pretty built up van. So a little plug for the show.
Like, you know, gross vehicle weight and stuff. Like
Yeah. And it looks awesome too. Plus he gets to sleep in it and everything. He's got a pretty sweet setup. You can always check him out on YouTube. A little plug for him. But that Jeep Adventure, he makes some great videos. So there you go. So going back to actually what you were saying, Ryan, about licensing, what have you. Let's deep dive into that a little bit. What do we need? I know obviously it's different based on
It's
state.
everywhere.
Yeah.
But let's talk about it. I would imagine it's relatively, you need something, right? So you're going to have some sort of license to be towing a rig to the trail. Yes.
Anything above 4,500 kgs, like kilograms, right? So then you need a commercial license, and then you got to check your license. Like you can have, there's different ones. Like a D is going to allow you a certain weight. I think really depends on what you're doing, but like a restricted A, if you had like a bigger trailer and like a 1-ton truck or a dually, you're probably going to want to have the restricted A. She's eating lemons and stuff. Right? It's pretty funny. So you can do that. So you can get restricted A, like instead of having like an AZ, which is Z for air brakes, and the A is like tractor trailer kind of stuff, like AZ. You can do a restricted A, right, and do the test, right, with anything like a pickup truck and a trailer, no problem. And then you can write your Z endorsement if you have an air brake, tractor you decide to use later. You just can't tow. If you have a restricted A with a Z endorsement, it's not the same as an AZ, whereas like real transport truck driver guy stuff, but you can get away with, towing something and utilizing something with air brakes. But certain ones you can get away with, like air brake converted trucks, electric brake converted trucks that have a camper, when you only need like a lower level of license because it's a camper and it comes into like a motorhome kind of classification. There's a lot of funny, weird stuff with it.
I was gonna say, it sounds complicated. So just
and it changes everywhere, right? Or just make it till you make it. You know what I mean? Just go.
There you go.
As long as you know how to do it, right? Like you know how to hook your trailer up, you understand, simple principles behind, give yourself some space, understanding how to like tie down. That's something we could do later, like show how to tie down a vehicle properly on a trailer, like just for for information's sake, how to check your, trailer wheel bearings. Like there's lots of things we could do, right? Because we're all pretty experienced with trailers. Like I got like, I don't know, 9 or 11 trailers. I can't remember. So all different ones, right? So yeah, they all require like a visual inspection, like tire, wheel bearing, brakes, electrical, and yeah, for sure. So it gets more intense. Just like if you build your Jeep and it's like fancy performance, there's more maintenance and more things to look at and look after. Same thing.
All right, cool. You're gonna have to send a picture of the giant, like I don't even know. Yeah, the motorhome. It's like an aircraft carrier in length.
It's called the Holiday Rambler. It's mint.
There you go. You have to send a picture. We'll throw it up in the show notes. But I guess what we're saying is, so check with your state, make sure that you're following the proper procedures and get the proper licensing. You're probably going to need something if you're going to be doing this. And actually, that Tim, question for you: do you know of, or is there a place like for somebody to get trained in this whole thing, or a certification, or let's say this is my first time, I've decided I'm going to buy an older Jeep because I do have Super Duty or whatever the case may be, and I'm ready to pull something to the trail. Where's the best resource for me to like learn more about this, do you think?
Outside of additional licensing requirements, like Ryan's saying, like obviously you can do a course for any of that stuff, but just the basics, I don't think there'd be much for that. If someone's got something, it'd be cool if someone could share a link. But truthfully, a lot of people have this experience because maybe they towed a snowmobile, a jet ski, a boat. Maybe your dad had a boat when you were younger. Pass you down some knowledge. Otherwise, maybe just ask someone that you think is experienced and trustworthy if you can tag along with them for the weekend and hang out. Like I know Eugene from EH Media comes to all our races and helps us out. And truthfully, like he can strap our car down and that's our Jeep or whatever on the trailer just because he's hung out with us enough and paid attention. And it's all common sense stuff. Same with like my brother's wife, my sister-in-law, Laura, same deal. She can strap or unstrap a Jeep or race vehicle from our trailer and unload or load it. So yeah, I would just partner up maybe with someone that's got a little more experience than you that you find is knowledgeable and trustworthy and say, hey, can I hang out with you and you show me the ropes? That'd be the best way to go about gaining those skills.
All right, cool. And are we talking about like flat bed towing
yeah.
all the time, or what about like a flat tow? Or I assume if you have a camper or what have you, right?
Yeah, my buddy did. I don't like flat towing, man. If I don't have to, there's no way I would.
Is that right? Yeah.
I wouldn't. Like, he literally somehow didn't put the transfer case in neutral, and it popped in, and like it tore the whole transfer case off the back of Christina's TJ and left it in the highway.
No way.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It was crazy. Like, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Right. So, but yeah, he's borrowed my other car hauler for that now because he doesn't want that to happen. I just think there's too many like variables for a flat toe, and you're putting miles on it. Like, you're still roasting your tires if you got cool stickies or something. You know what I mean?
Yes. Good point.
I mean, yeah, it sucks because it's just more cash. Like, if you got a camper, and you could be overloaded if you had like a bed camper and a trailer, you could be past capacity of certain vehicles. So yeah, the right answer, get the proper vehicle. The wrong answer, make sure it's safe and just go have some fun. You know what I mean? Like, but I mean, again, there is rules for a reason, you know. So that would be my thing. Like, I don't know. I get it. It's a pain in the ass, but maybe you got to do like a 1500 because you got one in a little car hauler, and then just tent it instead of having like an in-cab 10 or something. Or maybe you get a nice roof rack and have, you know, a sweet pop-up tent, which wouldn't add too much, you know, payload to the truck. You know what I mean? This is kind of different cheats. So if you plan this out, figure out what the vehicle can do for payload, figure out what it can tow, figure out what you're looking to do, and make sure those things kind of align, or at the best case, you know, very, very close, right? So, and then make sure your tires, because I know like Dodge Rams come with P-rated tires. Like, it's hilarious. Like,
that's a good point, actually.
PSA, so make sure the tire can withstand the pressure and the heat, right? Like, so there's a lot of little things. And like, I'm happy to answer those questions and set people in the right direction. And I'm sure there's people that have similar to different answers, but I know that my answers will be correct.
All right, fair enough. Let's say I have a rig in my driveway and I'm ready to take it out and I want to test it. Can I just rent a truck and trailer? Tim, do you think that's doable?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not ideal, but for some people who don't want to take on the full cost of ownership of an additional truck and trailer, yeah, I've got guys that do that in the race series. Honestly, they rent a truck and they rent a trailer. Sometimes you can't rent both from the same place. Sometimes the truck rental can't know you're towing a trailer. So, I mean, it's up to you to determine what's right and what flies with each rental place. But no, I've got multiple people that do that. Truthfully, if you only go out a handful of times and say your daily driver is a car and you don't want to get into the cost of a truck because of the length of your commute or whatever, I totally respect that. So it's doable. I've even seen people rent like U-Haul cube bands, or like if you got a small crawler, like a moon buggy, I've seen people rent cube vans, stuff a crawler in a cube van. Not saying it's right or wrong, but I've seen it done. So I mean, it looks fucking slick. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, if you don't want to take on the cost of ownership, you've still got options if you want to trailer your stuff to the trail because you like that added safety feature of being able to get home.
All right, cool, awesome. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about driving your Jeep then to the trail. Obviously, there's some clear pros in doing that. Ryan, let's start with the pros on driving your Jeep there. I know we touched on it a little bit, but
yeah, I think it's super easy packaging. You know what I mean? You just get in and go. Really depends on who's come with you. If it's a buddy, it's pretty easy. He's responsible for his stuff. You got yours. Throw in the back, tools, whatever you got, and yeah, hit the road, right? That's mint. So I would say those are the advantages, you know, really just the ease of maneuverability, right? And especially if you're going to tent it, or even you're going to go perky and grab a hotel or something, when you can grab hotels. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. The only thing is, yeah, you're just, you might want to take it a little easier than maybe you thought, or you might not want to try that last attempt on that obstacle you couldn't get up. You know what I mean? Those types of things. But if you're just out for fun, or like, you know, when we do the 101s and stuff, we trailer, but I mean, I would be perfectly cool with just driving it up if I wasn't staying for 3 days kind of thing, you know? Like if we go do a day event or something, like I totally entertain the idea of just driving, like taking a Gladiator, or just driving it up there, you know what I mean? And hanging out in one of those cabins or something. That's cool with me. Like if we do in the winter, you know? Yeah, man, that's kind of the most benefit, is just ease of packaging. And it's kind of like you can leave on a whim almost, right? You just decide to go out, right? And then it really depends on your location, right? Like we live in the West, so it's a little more stuff. I can't really do a day trip, you know, by the time you get up at whatever time and go 4-wheeling for 3, 4, 5, 8 hours, 6 hours, and then drive home another, you know, 5 hours, 5.5 hours, a little different. But like you guys would probably be a little better to make it to Minden. But you guys could probably do a solid day trip, you know, be a rough morning the next morning, but you know, where I'm going to tack on another 3 hours each way, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. So there's a number of pros. Cool. Tim, what do you think of pros on the you know, floating it there?
100% agreed on that. I mean, when we went out in the fall, the three of us and went up, there's nothing easier than like walk my kids to school,
right?
drive to the shop in my Gladiator, couple tool bags in the Gladiator, we're gone. If I had to trailer, I've got to move shit around in the shop, get one of the off-road only toys out, pick up the trailer, load the trailer. I mean, it would have added probably a morning and an hour in my morning and an hour at the end of the day easily. So yeah, ease of use for sure. The other thing, a lot of people probably don't consider, but some trails you do are basically point to point. So you start on a trail, you don't end back at the same starting point. So in that instance, having a Jeep, you can just drive to the next trail, drive home, is pretty slick, as opposed to sometimes having to reverse the whole trail backwards to get back to your trail rig. So yeah,
or get out and loop all the way around back to where you unloaded, right? Like taking an hour, like really an hour drive back to your rig, right?
That can be a factor too. And I also found if you daily your Jeep, it's probably, potentially in better condition than something that's trailered only. Cause I mean, trailered only is dangerous depending on the type of trails you run. Like I know I built my TJ on tons, would drive it to and from the trails, wash it down as soon as you get home, keep up on the maintenance. As soon as it's trailered, it's not that I didn't keep up on the maintenance, but maybe you get home and you leave it parked on the trailer for a week. Boom, seized brakes, guaranteed, which is just now a terrible maintenance job you got to do, as opposed to when I drove it before. You build some heat, cook off some of that stuff. Everything lived. So I will say, if you drive your Jeep, it's probably in pretty tip-top condition. Not everyone, but for the most part, if it's roadworthy, it's going to be trailworthy.
It's limber.
Yeah.
Limber.
Yeah.
Limber, there you go. That's right. It's like that girl in high school. She was limber.
Yeah. Always my favorite girl in high school.
That's right.
When I was in high school, not now.
Right.
I'm old now.
Right.
I don't like high school girls now. Right. You gotta be careful. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think also like some of the pros for trailering it is, my personal thing anyways, like parts and spares and things like that. So I have the spare tire delete, you know, that way you don't have to throw it in the back of the Jeep and, you know, drive around all day with this giant spare, you know, menacing if you don't put it in right, which is, you know, possible. You know, flies forward and such. So I think just having, you know, the peace of mind knowing that you've got some spares back at you know, camp or what have you, the trailhead, it's a definite bonus. But it certainly seems to me, and you know, we'll cover this a little bit more, but it seems to me like cost is a factor here. So yeah, let's talk about cost. Obviously we're talking considerably more for the trailer, etc. Is that correct, Brian? Is that?
Oh, well, sure. You go from zero trailer to a trailer, and then everything has consumable products, right? Wheel bearings, tires, brakes, you know, electrical systems on trailers always are a pain in the ass, right? And then even you still got to buy like a trailer hitch, and then you got to have a pickup truck, and they all got to be maintained, right? So yeah, if you're not using them for other purposes, I believe it's an expensive move. But I mean, it's your money as long as you kind of understand where it's going and that's what you want to do. Hey man, that's all cool with me. You know what I mean? I am fortunate in that sense where I utilize all my other equipment for my business. So yeah, it's more of a perk. And most of the time when I go four-wheeling, like I love what I do and I have a lot of fun with all the people that I interact with for sure. But I'm still like working a little bit, you know what I mean? So it still gets me to build relationships and have friends. So it still pays dividends for me personally, right? That'd be the only thing, unless you had it for another job. You're a landscaper or you're a contractor, you got a pickup truck, or maybe you got a 3/4 ton van, toss a hitch on it. Maybe you find a nice car hauler for a couple grand and you just throw some tires on it. Like they're not that bad. Like $2,000 to $5,000, you can get a pretty cool trailer. You know what I mean? Tires are cheap, like 80 to like $140 tires. You know what I mean? And if you're handy, simple electronics, there's only brakes, signals, four ways, and a little bit of shit that fucks up, you can fix that stuff yourself. Like it's not too bad, right? Then you're kind of winning. Or if you find you have Jeep already and you're like, you know what, I want to pick up truck because I want to do all this cool stuff and I want to headaches of like worrying about making it home, then you trade in whatever vehicle you're driving for that pickup truck. You know what I mean? And figure out like if you're spending an extra $40 a month on fuel versus whatever you had before, then if that's cool with you, perfect. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the worst thing you can do is have a trailer and have a truck for that only, and only like tow stuff like 4 times a year. You know what I mean? You're going to run into those problems like Tim said, you know what I mean? Like you're going to have a trailer that doesn't work properly. You're going to have a truck that's painful and is potentially unsafe because it's just been sitting, right? Like mechanical things need to move, need to warm up, they need to do all those things. And if they're not continuously doing that, it's just like your body, like, you become fat and stiff and old.
Yes.
Grumpy, right? Like, so that's kind of it for sure.
Yeah, Tim, agreed?
Yeah, I would say one way to look at it as well is there's a lot of people they don't spend 70 grand. They don't have 70 grand, but the bank spends 70 grand for them on a jail or whatever. Instead of maybe, like I had a guy the other day, he had a newer 4-door JL and he wanted to jump it, but jumping it bends axles. He
wanted to jump it.
Yeah, no, he does jump it. So anyways, it led to a pretty in-depth conversation, but my logic was maybe you cash out that 70 on the JL, spend 40 on a truck, 25 on a 1-ton TJ or older JK, 5 on a trailer. Now you got all these assets. You got a reliable truck to be your daily driver. You're not wrecking this Jeep, driving around Stance Nation because your axles got one hell of a fucking smile. There's just different ways to slice it. So I feel a lot of people are just like, oh, you got a truck and trailer and a Jeep. Like that's 5 times more expensive than what I'm doing. But hey,
you can shuffle the cards.
Yeah, exactly. It's just different allocations on those funds. So I feel if you're in a newer Jeep and you got payments on it, and you're considering going down this path, maybe do a little more homework and think like, fuck it, I'm just going to move my money around. I'm going to get a 1/2-ton truck. It's going to be more affordable. I'm going to get a trailer and I'm going to get myself an older Jeep that, I can pound and not worry about. And I drive this truck as my daily. That's the compromise.
Take it off some sweet jumps.
Yeah. And then, maybe then you can jump your buggy if it still smiles. Call me. We know how to go about.
Right. There you go.
Don't jump your Jeep. I
was just gonna say, I really want to know who this is because I want to go and check it out. I want to see the
he had to be able to jump it. Like we're talking axles and stuff, and that was like 100% requirement. And I'm
wow.
No, wrong application.
Right.
Yeah.
I hope he's like, I don't know, MTV's Jackass or something. Not to say he's a jackass. I'm just saying.
No, for sure. Put it out there, man.
That's saying, like,
I want to see that shit.
That's what I mean, like influences or what have you.
Yeah, when we like you saw, we jumped a dumpster out back with our buggy. I'm like, okay,
that was sweet though.
That's the right running gear to do that. But if you do that in your Jeep, call the tow truck, or I hope you got the trailer to get it home, like we're talking about here. Yeah.
Okay, so note to self: I'm not going to be jumping.
Don't jump. No.
Not on purpose, anyway. I'm going to hold you guys to the fire a little bit here.
Okay.
Tim, which do you prefer? If you had to pick.
Truck, trailer, and dedicated trail rig, hands down. You can get to the trail, 100% you're getting home, even if you have to leave that rig and the trail, whatever, you're coming home in your other truck. And then one thing we didn't touch on, but I thought about this earlier. Maybe you have medical conditions and like a night in the woods is not a good idea for you. Maybe you need for any reason, maybe you got to get home to take medication at a certain interval, the peace of mind of truck and trailer, you're going to get home 100%. So that might be something to consider as well for some people.
Yeah, I felt like super serious there. That was the most serious thing we've ever talked
Hey,
about on this.
I just thought about it earlier. I was like,
wow, I thought the countdown fucked me up. That was way worse.
Well, I just thought about it
That's-
earlier. I was like, you could probably sleep in the bush, but I was like, maybe someone's like diabetic and
Is it the
Yeah,
beard
need
that says
insulin
that?
or-
they need insulin at a certain interval. Then like, no, sleeping in the bush probably isn't fucking good for them. So I don't know,
Yeah.
something to think about.
Fucking in the bush is different.
That's different.
Ryan, which do you prefer? Same thing, like
Dude,
100%.
Dude, 100%. Like I got that big 40-foot bus, man. It's so fun once you get it all set up, right? Yeah, and if the weather sucks, you're in this like it looks like my grandma's condo, like from like 1998. You know what I mean? Like it's sick. You throw a movie on, there's TV, you can cook food. It's pretty fun. I really enjoy it. But yeah, other than prepping it and always having to put two vehicles on, right? Not that I don't like it. It's just time. But yeah, nothing beats, like what Tim said, being able to get out and, you know, get the stuff. Like most of my vehicles, just because of the nature of my business, they're all plated, they're all drivable on the road and all that fun stuff. You could drive any of the stuff I own to the trail and back, and if you're nice enough to it, it's going to bring you home. But that's just because of the things that we target, right? So yeah, but I still like putting them on the trailer just because, you know, makes sense. Like one time, like Nate takes my other truck in the trailer and his Jeep, and then I bring the two Jeeps, and like someone breaks, and then all of a sudden, like, oh, we got to switch trucks and put this one on the trailer because it's toast, and then, you know, whatever, drive that one home or drive this or flip it around or whatever. So it's kind of funny that way, but it is a lot of metal moving down the road, you know, just to go four wheeling. It's a huge, you got to scratch it out on a napkin and plan it out.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. No, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So we got a couple other people saying hi. So hey, William, just thought I'd say hi back. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
I would think another one is this to me. It's like your own equipment. Like you should have your own winch. Don't think my buddy's got a winch, I'm going to use it, whatever. Because one of my friends, as soon as I got a truck and trailer and was towing around my 110 TJ, he had like the identical Jeep, and his attitude then was always like, "Well, fuck, if I break, you're going to trailer me home." And I'm like,
Yeah. No.
I bought the shit for me. Like, sorry. Like, I don't want to be selfish. Like, I would get you home in an emergency, but like, no, truthfully, like that's my funds, and I put in the work to do that shit. So like, don't think just because you wheel with your friend, he's always gonna trailer your broken ass home. Maybe if shit happens every once in a while, for sure your buddy's there for you. But yeah. Don't go around thinking, oh fuck, my buddy's got those tools.
Yeah, like I got a maid now. I can go jump my JL.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to come out with me and you're gonna show me you jump your JL, I'll trailer you fucking home. That is awesome.
Yeah.
No
We need all the cameras there.
Yeah.
Yes.
We were talking about reels earlier, right? Doesn't get any better than that. Right? Is there anything something we need to maybe consider if we're looking at doing one versus the other? I mean,
just strap it down properly, use the right type of straps, that kind of stuff. Like, and like, you know, we can happy to deep dive on that one day, or maybe just film strapping some stuff. And if anyone had any questions before we did that, happy to answer them. Right?
Yeah, for sure. No, that's a good point. Make sure you know what you're doing. Strap it down. Matter of fact, there was a story here earlier. I'll just read it real quick. Facebook user, I don't know who it is, sorry, but this person had their Jeep come off the trailer at 75 miles an hour. The rear strap broke. The Jeep rolled forward enough to unhook the front straps, and off it went. It was going up a hill, so I had to pull the van over. I'm thinking that.
Okay.
Pull the van over. I chased it rolling backwards down the interstate. Door was unlocked, of course, but the top was off. Oh, sorry, the door was locked, of course. So the top was off. So he was able to jump in, stop it before it went down the road and down the hill. Wow. Luckily, the day, Saturday, not a single person passed me, but it could have been so much worse.
Dude, check your straps, man. Before you gotta inspect all your junk, right? So, like all your stuff.
You know, you could add 1 million followers. His Jeep might add 1 million followers. Here's my fucking owner, Road Pizza. But yeah.
Woo. That's insane. I'm glad that no one got destroyed.
Yeah, that's a spicy story.
That's lucky. And if it was Matt, which I assume it was Matt based on the van comment, yeah, that's TJ. So Yes, it was Matt. There we go. He just commented. So lesson learned. He said, lesson learned.
Check
I
your
love it.
stuff. Check your straps.
There you go, yeah. Awesome. All right, cool. Yeah, so I mean, if there's nothing else we can think of, I guess that's it for Trailer Queen versus
I'll help you. I'll help you trade your JL in, Paul.
There we go.
We'll go truck shopping and yeah.
I don't think I can do it. I keep thinking about things like that, but that's why I'm all over getting a JK, because then I can drive it there and back. Yeah, because I love daily driving the Jeep. I gotta say, I love it. All right, well, yeah, I guess if that's it, I want to thank you both for taking the time, and thank everyone who tuned in.
Yes, thank you,
everyone. On and off, and we'll be throwing this all together, and we'll get it up on our different audio channels. If you don't already follow us, hit us up on YouTube. It's Light Bars and Lockers. You can just search for it. You should be able to find us. You can always get us on what was it, Spotify?
Oh, there you go.
Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, just about anywhere that you consume podcasts, you will find us. If you can leave a like or a comment below, especially if you have any questions, we'll be sure to answer those. If anybody has an idea for an upcoming show, we'd love to hear it. We are always looking for great ideas. And if anyone has any stories, we're also looking for some guests. We're going to start doing some trail tales, I think. So if you're a good storyteller and you have a great story, let us know. Just write it into podcast@jeepbeefs.com.
Sounds like an adult film.
Please,
Trail Tales.
Please,
Trail
please be a good story. I mean, I pretty much closed my retail storefront because I was sick of listening to weak ass stories about breaking Dana 35s and shit like that.
Oh, you don't like those?
No, that's not impressive.
The tire goes.
No,
I got a video on it.
If the tire passes you earn their story. But yeah, if you went out and got stuck last weekend and your buddy extracted you, fuck, good for you. You're someone's hero. But yeah, save it.
Yeah, for the campfire.
Yeah.
We're talking like
serious
primo.
You can even kind of make it up a bit.
Yeah.
Whatever. We're not fact checkers.
No. If your Jeep came off the trailer and you jumped in through the top,
that's epic.
That's badass. Like that.
If you have a video, even better.
Yes.
We'll send you like a small alcoholic beverage or something.
A swag pack.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Sweet. Well, once again, thanks everyone for being here. Thank you both. As always, learned lots. And I guess we'll catch you next week for another episode of Light Bars and Lockers. Take care, everybody. Later on.